Oh, good afternoon. Let's see how much the lag is. Come on. Come on.
There you go.
Oh, mine ain't gone live yet on this screen. There we go. Mute that so we don't have any issues there. Good afternoon, everybody. A little bit chillier here today. So how are we all doing? Phil, good afternoon, mate. Lost Souls, Holly, always welcome. We've got 6 watching now. That's fine. We had 8 just now. As soon as I go live, let 2 leave. Brilliant. Hey. But yeah, it might be a bit low on the numbers today for some reason. I've been getting lots of updates saying that YouTube are updating the platform, whatever, in the background. And since then, well, it's been happening before that, but it's got worse. Yesterday, they didn't put the video out, the alerts. Some got them, some didn't. Moo, Rob, good afternoon, guys. Yeah, everything they're doing at the moment seems random, shall I say. They're still hiding comments, removing comments. For some reason, I'm still getting alerts on one computer and not the other. I believe that's something I've done in the settings, but I can't see any difference. I've looked at both sets of settings and they're both set identical. So the only difference is this is the Windows 10 Pro and the laptop's normal Windows 10. What difference that should make on notification settings, I don't know, but I may have missed something.
Next time he's asleep, I'll check it out.
And hi to Mrs. W there. She is sat behind me. She is my tech support. Lost hope you well. Craigie, good afternoon, mate. What's it like down there at the moment?
How is he?
I have been following you, as you know. Yeah, sad to hear what happened, mate. But as you know, I've suffered the same, and I know exactly how you're feeling, buddy. And we're thinking of you. Don't worry about that. Stuart, good afternoon, mate. Yeah, it does get a bit easier, Craigie. It just takes time. It's basically your brain has to rewire itself from the damage that's been done. I still suffer for quite a bit from that sort of thing, and that's over a year on now. So, yeah, it's something we have to deal with. I've learned to deal with it almost, but just being impatient. Yes, mate, absolutely. And I'm one of the worst ones for that, as you know. And Heather was trying to hold me back all the time with things I was trying to do. And that just made things a lot worse. And I ended up giving myself some TIAs afterwards as well. And so I know where you're coming from, bud. And, you know, if you ever want to chat about it, someone who's suffering the same, I'm here, or the support groups are pretty good.
This is your support group.
Yeah, literally, Heather said it there. The guys in here have been my support group. You know, they've been with me since day one when it happened. And they saw me go out of the room as I had another minor one in the hallway. I was actually on a live stream on somebody else's channel. And yeah, it's not a nice thing, but it's a fact of life. You know, at my age, I more or less expect that sort of thing, to be honest. But yeah, it did come as a bit of a shock as it just happened. There we go. As you know, I've abused my body over the years. you of all people know that. Who else we got in here then? 13 watching. Come on, people. Some of you make up your minds.
Psychologist disappeared.
Say something. I take it you can all hear me. I don't give a shit whether you can see me or not. You're the ones that have got to worry about that. Afternoon, Murph. Or good evening for you, yes. Yeah, it seems a lot of channels and a lot of media have forgotten about what today stands for. It's called Battle of Britain Day, but it wasn't a day. That there was weeks of this that they suffered before that day. But they forget the others that were involved in it and all through. Jack, good afternoon, mate. Andy, hiya, buddy. Thanks for dropping in. Yeah, I know you're driving, buddy, so no worries. Yeah, you know, you got to remember that most of the planes were built by women. And most of them were certainly delivered by women. But the stance I've always took is that everybody says it was the Spitfire that won it for us. That is actually incorrect. There were far more Hurricanes made and involved than there were Spitfires. I won't say the Hurricanes shot down more because I haven't looked at those statistics. But there were others that were involved. Don't forget the Battle of Britain was all about the daytime bombing when they switched to the daytime bombing. But when the Germans were doing nighttime bombing, there was also the Mosquitoes that were converted to night fighters. One little known one actually is the Bristol Bowfighter. It was originally designed as a tank buster, but it worked quite efficiently after being modified as a night fighter. So they had radars on board and could pick up the bombers in the dark. You know, as well as the radars on the ground they developed. But these are all things they forget. Again, they said Spitfires and Hurricanes backed up the D-Day landings. Well, the fact that most damage from the air done on the D-Day landings was the pre-bombing and the use of the Hawker Tempest and the Typhoon. And that's what they were designed for, ground attack. Oh, there's them bloody... All right, someone on a phone has got them bloody heart things, haven't they?
No, it's me.
It's you, is it?
One way of getting your attraction. Attention, attraction. Even. Don't forget when you're ready, darling, you'll need to pin the link.
Yes, I will. Yep, I had just remembered that. The Hurricane shot down bombers mostly. It had more bomber kills than any other airplane during the war. Yes, Rob, that's what I mean. There was far many produced because it was quicker and cheaper to produce. It didn't have a lot of the armament that the Spitfire had, but it was light, maneuverable, and basically because it was made of canvas, the bullets went straight through it, so it was easy to patch up. A bit like the Mosquito, really. You know, a bit of wood filler, good to go. I mean, that was made out of plywood. Yes, Rob, the Spitfire did shoot down a couple of the V1s. There was obviously the famous picture of one being wing-tipped by a Spitfire. But again, at the time, I think it was the Typhoon was the only one that could actually catch it and match it with speed. The Spitfire would have to dive to catch up with it. I think I'm right in that, if I remember my history. And the Typhoon was also used to shoot up German infrastructure ahead of the advance through Europe. Where do I store all this information? Now. Amazing. Right, well, there's the link for that. But yeah, a lot of the aircraft during the war, it's something I do know quite a bit about. I was actually born in an RAF town and lived my youth probably less than a mile away from the end of the runway. RAF Abingdon. Excuse me, gotta give up the smoking. Yes, Rob, it was plywood, basically, the Mosquito. It was actually made of plywood. And it was, a lot of German pilots allegedly were more frightened of that than they ever were of a Spitfire. And the difference of offensive armament they could have on it was incredible as well, considering it was capable of light bombing. Yes, Stuart, exactly, mate. This is what I was trying to get across in that short video today. You know, thousands died. We had to go through all that. Millions suffered to stop people coming across. And now they're inviting them. They've got no tanks. They've got no guns. They've got no planes. They don't bloody need them. Good afternoon, Missy. Yes, we're both good here. The lovely Mrs. W is sat there in the background.
Afternoon, Missy.
Although she's probably half covered by
Jason.
the bloody... Yeah, half covered by that silly frigging duck. But I absolutely refuse to pay for StreamYard. Jason, good afternoon, mate. Yeah, the trouble with the Typhoon and the Tempest and that, Rob, that they were a lot bigger and a lot heavier. They did have a bit more power. But, yeah. But they did pack a punch, especially once they started fitting rockets to the wings, and they could carry a hell of a lot of weight. You know, that they were the first single engine fighter bomber, I would say. Afternoon, Bishop. Nice. Yeah, I used to build a lot of Airfix models many years ago. But most of them used to get hung up in the garden, in the trees and that, and shot to shit with air rifles.
Bearded veteran does some nice war.
Yeah. Bishop, if you're ever into models and, what do you call them? Oh, bloody
dioramas.
Dioramas, that's the word I was looking for. Jesus, my mind still goes blank. Dioramas, the bearded veteran who subscribes in here, Mikey, does some absolutely brilliant ones. You know, check him out on Facebook. I can't remember what he goes under. It's British vintage military model or something like that.
Hang on, I'll find out.
In fact, if you find out, you can actually post a link being a mod. My tech support will try and find a link and post it in the chat. Tony, good afternoon, mate. Way more money too. Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, you got to remember, I mean, if you think of money today with the decimals, I mean, I used to be able to go to Woolies as a kid, Woolworths, and you used to be able to get the Airfix ones, the small ones, in a plastic bag, just with a cardboard tag on it. They'd be hung up. They wouldn't be in a box. Well, you could buy 4 of those for £1. They were the only ones that were done in bags. I think, if I remember, with the planes, everything else was done in boxes. I did progress onto boats and that, but I found because they didn't float and no, I'm not having any of them. Who else we got in the chat? Sorry about any banging you can hear, people. For the past few weeks, there's a guy, I think he's doing it himself, doing some work or building an extension on a house out the back there. And we've had everything from disc cutters and drills and hammers and jackhammers going for about 2 weeks solid now.
There's Biddy's link.
There you go. Bishop, that's the link to Mikey's Facebook. He's got a nice little group going on there. He does do some videos as he's doing the models. He's just starting a YouTube channel up for that as well. I'm not on Facebook, shite. Oh, fair enough.
That's YouTube.
That's his YouTube channel, Bishop. He's only just started that. What's that telling me? I got an alert up there.
But when we see him, we'll tell him he needs to post his stuff on there as well now that he's doing.
Yeah, he's
for those that don't do Facebook.
He was only Facebook based, but obviously he's limited to who says on there. So thank you, Bishop. I'm sure he'd appreciate that, mate. At the moment he's not putting much up, but he's on a learning curve, the same as I am on here, really.
And a lovely guy,
and a lovely guy as well. He's a vet. So
if you want to know how he's done anything, he'll more than happily share.
Yeah. God, we got 19 in here. Who else? Come on, make yourself known in the chat. And I don't know whether people are still having the issues. I've got used to it in my comments, but YouTube is still playing around with the names. All right, Rob, no worries, mate.
But I did post in the comment on your how to change it, how to go into the settings and change it. It's never so easy.
When was that? Last week?
Yeah, can't remember what day.
Yeah. But there is a way. If your name's not coming up right, you can go in and change
Tuesday,
it.
I think it was, and it's one of the first. It's a response to one of the early comments.
When he said, yes, sure, and it is dry like tinder as well, and crackly. It was only because the way I had it before, everybody was saying it looked like the 70s porn moustache. So. And Heather doesn't like it because she doesn't like the little stubbly bit down the middle. But that's when I give her a kiss, by the way. No, that makes it sound even fucking worse, doesn't it?
Oh. I don't like you looking like a 70s porn star.
Yeah,
she
doesn't mind me performing like a 70s porn star, but she doesn't like me looking like one.
I stood muffin, calm down.
Yeah, but there was one point in my life where, I could, but now I can, but it only lasts for about 10 seconds. Then my body gives out.
It's all right, one can only take it for that long.
we go.
We both as
Bloody
knackered as
Friday
each other.
afternoon. We ain't even halfway there yet, and I'm off.
Look, you made Rob have to go for a shower. He's had to go cool down.
Yeah, it's a cold one. Wait and see if Jorge comes in and his mum gets involved. Oh dear. Anyway, but how are you guys this afternoon? God, all I've talked about is me so far.
And planes.
And planes, yeah.
And back in the war.
Yeah, back during the war. Yeah, I remember when Pap gave me that name. Oh dear.
Pap's fine, by the way. For those of you that know what Dan was having done.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, there's a lot going on out there. You got fucking Labour now. Yeah, well, we'll get rid of the ones we got, but we're going to replace them with some more, and probably more of them. But the EU they're shutting down on them. A lot of countries now are turned to say, no, we're not taking them. We don't want them. We've had enough. Germany, Italy's been overrun with them. They've called it an emergency situation. And to be honest, with what's been going on here, we should be calling it the same. It's ridiculous. But we have to be careful what we talk about on here. I did hear of even a StreamYard platform page got taken down a week or so ago. Yeah, just for what they were talking about. Alistair, good afternoon. You talk about buying a flinger. Flinger. Explain.
I'm just Googling it.
Wasn't that one of the banana bunch? Oh no, that was Flingo, wasn't it? Yeah.
A watch.
Fair enough, Tony. Fair enough. Yes. And the Tories ain't doing a bad job of it either, Stuart. We're getting signed up for all sorts. No, I don't bother with them, Alistair. I've got a Timex there, which I've had for donkey's years. It's a copy of a military one with the backlight and everything. And I've got just a nice one, which literally I only wear when I wear a suit to a wedding or a funeral. And again, that's a Timex. No, most of the time I don't wear them. They used to get broken too often at work anyway. So, and at the moment as well with this polycythemia that I've got, the blood disorder, my skin is very, very dehydrated. It dehydrates very quickly. And anything rubbing against my skin causes little sores, which gets infected very, very quickly. You're a classy guy. I used to walk around and look at the sun and hold my hand up. You know, I'll tell you within 10 minutes. But it was easy when you were stood there looking at the sun with the church in the background with the clock on it. Okay, so yeah, it's going to be one of them days that there's a hatching of insects. Wonderful. But welcome to you guys in the background there, who's ever just watching. I know there are some people that just like you, or they watch and listen while they're doing other things, like Andy, who's driving.
What's Tony doing with? Is he building clocks or repairing clocks?
You don't like watches. Do you actually repair them then, do you, Tony? Yeah, well, hey, no problem, mate. It's I'm not saying it's a subject that's avoided. It's just not the sort of subject for this sort of stream, to be honest.
We haven't got opinions because we don't know about them.
Well, I do.
Well, you do, but I don't.
You don't, no.
And that's the problem. There's only a few.
Yeah, to be honest, there's not that many over here that do. It's not on the education curriculum at all, learning stuff like that over here.
Stuart agreed with me last week. We don't learn about it like that.
I mean, they don't even learn about our own history in conflict anymore like we used to. Unfortunately, it's just the way the education system's gone. And from what I've been seeing this week, it don't look like it's going to get any better. Because now they're realising that people aren't... They keep saying that they're skiving school, but they're not. They're avoiding it. That's not what we used to call skiving back in my day. Because they don't want to be indoctrinated. They don't want to be programmed. And that's what the education is nowadays, and that's why they're dumbing down the exam levels. They blamed it on the pandemic, which that first lot is, I would say, fair comment. The kids missed a lot of school. They were messed about a lot. Some could learn, some couldn't. But this last lot, there should have been no excuse. And the results are down. So now, because of that, they're still talking about going homeschooling, not homeschooling, virtual schooling, online only, which, as I said in a video in the week, I don't believe will ever work, simply because of the differences in families, children, circumstances. Some won't be able to afford it, I'm really straightening me out after last week. No worries, mate. Your mum sounds like a wise lady. But I mean, you've only got to see the attitude of the kids that are out there now. Well, there's one that ain't getting any further. See that? Speed of a ninja. I've seen the attitude change of the kids over the years, and I believe it's the way. Not just that. I mean, a lot of parents have got to take some blame for the way their kids have turned out. Absolutely. And for those of the parents that can't control their kids because of their kids, for being frightened of them, I do feel sorry for those. But there are kids on the streets that the parents haven't got a clue what they're doing from the moment they leave the door. And if you've got a 14, 15-year-old on the streets at 2 o'clock in the morning, there is something seriously wrong. So, who's he trying to change the history? Yes, Stuart. Well, as we know, even schools have tried to change history. Certain fractions have absolutely tried to change it. I won't go into the ins and outs and the depths of it, but we know what we're talking about here. The slavery and issues like that. I'm just using that as a quick one off the top of my head. You know, the truth was never known or put out there because recorded history is always seen through the eyes of the person that writes it, and everybody sees something different. So they will record it in a different way. And history is created by those that record it, not by those that do it. Thank you, Jorge.
But don't take up smoking. If you don't smoke,
Godlike.
it's not big, it's not clever.
No. Costs a lot of money and it makes you cough. But I do have a rule, no smoking upstairs. I don't mind anybody smoking downstairs of whatever their smoking preference is. That's more than acceptable. We do allow that because I use a little bit myself for my health. But not when there's kids about, and it's not allowed upstairs. So, Jorge's mum thinks it's a turn on. So sorry, guys. I'm just, you know, I'm like, my eyes wander away from the chat, and plus at the moment, you never know whether YouTube is deleting comments as they did. I think it was Sunday night on Dan's live. And there was a couple of comments went missing from there that none of the moderators had removed, or Dan. Hi, Pat. Afternoon, bud. Yep, all good here, buddy. All good here. Still always tired, but my sleep patterns are still all over the place. Yes, Stuart, that is the thing. They're not just trying to do away with history. They're trying to change it to fit the agenda and the narrative. Have you seen the movie 1917?
One moment.
Probably not. Yeah, it's like everything else. Everything they put out, I class as malinformation because they twist it. They're putting out the right information, but they're twisting it to fit the narrative. They do it mainly with numbers. But, I mean, as I've pointed out many times, when he got into the job unelected, Roland stood up and said, "We will be the most transparent government you have seen." Bullshit. The only reason we're seeing what we're seeing is because people are looking now and they're finding it, not because you've told us about it. And this just... So the missus is just looking that up, Jorge?
Yeah, it's a war film, but it's only 2019. I was just gonna go back and say, yeah, because we don't do Netflix.
Oh yeah,
cinema, we wait for it. We won't have seen it till it comes out on telly.
Yeah, as Heather just said, we don't do Netflix or any of them sort of things, whatever they do, streaming channels.
But yeah, we'll keep our eye out for that. He'll like that.
But when it comes to war movies, I like a lot of the factual ones. Some of the Vietnam ones, obviously, and ones like Wind Talkers, Saving Private Ryan, because they are a recorded fact from history. Yes, they're spiced up. obviously the biggest and longest one was The Longest Day, which probably a lot of you are too young to remember. That had an absolute host of Hollywood stars and British stars in, and it was a very good film. But yes, Jorge, when I get a chance, I will have a look at that.
That's the film, roughly.
I trying to
That's the plot.
think of the one that was a bit way over the top, and it was quite a recent one. Oh God, Fury with Brad Pitt with the tank. Oh, the effects were way over the top and what have you, but it showed the horrors that did happen, because obviously with special effects and that, they can make that happen in films now. But yes, Stuart, Great Escape. I mean, the Dam Busters was on not so long back, and 633 Squadron. Afternoon Loafer. Even 633 Squadron, when you think about it, that's based on a true story, as is Mosquito Squadron and the Dam Busters, as we know. You know, most of those old type films were done from history, and that's why they still had so many of the planes and everything else to make them, because they were all still there, left over from the war. Yeah, I've always wondered about that though, Stuart. Why do they put them on at Christmas time usually? Yeah, it's The Great Escape. That's another one, isn't it? That's always on at Christmas. Always.
It's better than Sound of Music.
Yeah, oh yeah, I'd prefer it over The Sound of Music or fucking Mary Poppins at any point.
King and I.
Yeah, and The King and I. Yeah.
Shall we dance?
No.
Do you want some coffee?
Yes, please. No, what it is, Jorge, every time I like that, one little angel turns to the devil. Yes, Moo, it is. That was Roger Moore, wasn't it? Roger Moore and Richard Burton, if I remember, amongst others. You've never seen The Great Escape, Rob? Oh, it's a classic. Absolute classic. And there was another one. Oh, God. The Horse. Where the POWs dug a tunnel underneath a vaulting horse that they put in and out every day. And again, believe it or not, that was part of a true story, because in and around those escapes, that was where Harry Neve, who later became a local MP to where I was brought up, he was one of the ones that escaped from there over the wire by vaulting. And he was the one that was, I believe, he was assassinated in Ireland. I'm not quite sure on that now. It's something I haven't thought about for a long time. Yeah. Yeah. Good afternoon, Berlin. It's come up in here with your username. It's still coming up with all the numbers and that when you make comments on the videos, mate. I do try and let people know if it does it. Thank you.
If you go into your settings, there's two names in boxes. I can't remember what they're called. And you just need to make sure they both show as what you want to show. Give me a second, I'll pull it up. It's ever so easy to change.
Hello, what happened there?
YouTube, me.
What the hell is going on here? Pardon me.
So, 3 dots.
Hang on, Jorge. There's the. Okay, so there we go. StreamYard was buggering me about on the comments. Let me go. Speaking of assassinations, his car was blown. That's it, Stuart. I had in my mind somewhere that he'd been assassinated. It was the other captain, general, major, I don't know, admiral, whatever, was the one that got blown up in Ireland, wasn't it, on his boat. Funny enough, you mentioned that, Jorge. No, I've never visited the memorial, but I did do a lot about that as a project years ago in school. I won't go into it on here because a lot of people won't be interested in it, but yeah, there was a lot of things that were unpublished surrounding that I found strange. Mountbatten. Thank you, Jason. Lord Mountbatten. That was it. Thank you. Yeah, because that was just up the coast from Sligo, where the Irish contingent and my family come from. Quite possibly, Jorge, but that's not something I know about, mate, to be honest. Yes, and I believe you're right there. Absolutely. Absolutely. Stitch, good afternoon, sweetheart.
I've just lost the screen.
Hey?
I've just lost your screen.
You have? Which one, StreamYard or?
I've just closed YouTube.
Oh. Yes. I'm trying to remember it now. It's not one of the ones that comes to the front, but yes. Nope, I didn't know that, Jorge. Oh, what's that I've got written there? Oh yeah, anybody that's I know it's dropping back to aircraft, but anybody that takes pictures of them and likes the old warbirds and things, don't forget tomorrow there will be ones flying around circuits backwards and forwards through different airfields and everything, because there'll be a lot of displays on, I expect. We usually get one or two here because we're just north of Birmingham Airport, East Midlands Airport. So they have to fly low altitude if they come across here. But I've got a very limited space out the back where I can get aerial shots. But I will make sure my camera battery's charged up and ready to go. Do you collect any artifacts, Roger? Yes. But if I tell you, I'm going to get a slap in the back of the head. So I'll plead the fifth on that one.
I know about the propeller.
I have got a few artifacts. Modern history. I've got a compressor blade from a Hawker Siddeley Harrier that was actually damaged in testing, and I've got it unrepaired, still damaged. It still has got the marks and the dings in it where a bit of FOD got into the engine. Oh, some call me the colossal fossils. Oh, matron. Frankie Howard, wasn't it, Missy? What the? Are you playing one of my videos over there?
I'm going into the comments on a video.
Oh,
I can't
sorry.
find it on here. And I thought I'd do it on my phone because I did it on my phone and it was so bloody
Don't
easy.
worry about it now. Afternoon, Steve. Oh, it take ages to go through the comments. Yes, he is, Berlin. He's had done what he said he was going to have done on Sunday. And at the moment, he's been awake for, I think it's about 36 hours. And he absolutely needs to sleep because he needs to recover. So, and that's why he's not in here today. Jason Bourne, yeah, that's the only thing that's better than the Merlin engine in a Spitfire or a Hurricane Matrix. Jason, is 4 of them hanging on the outside of a Lancaster. Afternoon, Matrix. Oh, excuse me while I adjust myself, shall we say? Yeah, exactly, Jorge. Still many an old good tune to be played on an old fiddle. You just got to blow it right. Call out, see, stop, go. All right, Loafer. No worries, mate. Go plug the leak. Oh, dear. So what's everybody's plans for the weekend then? Bearing in mind at the moment there may not be a PAP live on Sunday. He's going to be still very, very tired. Okay, because free speech is coming. Yeah, Missy, especially with the online bill and what they're not going to change in it. WhatsApp already said if they end end-to-end encrypted, they will leave the UK and Europe. So have several other platforms. And I personally believe it is an outrageous invasion on our privacy. Raving and drinking, smoking the night away. That probably describes me in about the 70s and 80s, Rob. Don't know about the raving, but more head banging. No, Berlin, we don't. We don't. If you want seriously privacy now, you have to go through so many things and it costs a hell of a lot. They can intrude on you at every point. I mean, they're even saying now that some of the ULEZ cameras, because they're on constantly, are absolutely impinging on people's privacy when it can see through their windows and what have you. I mean, yeah, it says there's no privacy in public, but that, to me, I'd class as surveillance. But they're not getting it their own way. It was quite amusing to see their ever so eco EV vans with camera on top being towed away on the back of a bloody great big diesel burning tow truck. What you want is one of them reinforced rooms rather than safe, Jorge.
Panic room.
Unfortunately, here in the UK, we can't do anything like that. No, Rob. China is one of the first governments they should be absolutely cutting ties with, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, fair enough, Jorge. I'd like to see mine on the wall. I'd like to know what I'm grabbing at any one time. But yeah, Rob, it's proved that China have got these secret police over here. They got the secret police stations. Even their officials are willing to step off their so-called private property and assault people in public and kidnap them. Obviously, a certain thing was proved to have come from China. I'm still not convinced it was done deliberately because I haven't seen absolute proof. I've seen arguments from both sides, and both are plausible, would you believe? I'm on the fence with it. I know what my opinion is, but I'm not going to start a row by saying that. But yeah, there was arguments for both sides on that. The biggest problem was the reaction to it, as far as I'm concerned. Yes, they have bullied. They've infiltrated worldwide, whether it be the East, the West. It doesn't matter. They've infiltrated everywhere. And they've got people used to buying disposable goods. And that's where their main industry lies. Yeah, Rob, exactly, mate. And that is the problem, is proving it. No, it doesn't keep me dry, Jorge. Don't matter whether they're uncovered or covered, they sweat. I'm old. But you do have to let them out a bit over the years to allow for the sag. What a question to ask.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, dear. Yes, Missy. I mean, when we were at school, we were given, even at primary school, we were given options on what we wanted to learn. And every option was about learning, not just being told what to do. Your mum is curious. Well, I will say I don't use deodorant because that burns, especially around sensitive parts.
Sitting on a nylon chair, plastic chair.
Yeah, you just sit on one of them leak pads, don't you? Incontinent pads. When it gets damp, you just change it or wring it out.
Oh, yeah, I can see usage in there.
You go and wring that out for us, love. Don't you start wiping it out. No. When you got skin like I have, or that even that fine, it acts like sandpaper when you're having a scratch.
Plus, if you sweat, it turns into a paste.
Yeah, it does. It goes like cement when you sweat with it.
Same is true of babies when they're chubby.
I don't know, Alistair. I'm not flexible enough to be able to get close enough to see what it's like. Oh, yes, Missy. I mean, you know, we were taught history. Again, as I say, history is down to who recorded it. They're the ones that create history, as it were, or recorded history that we are taught. But you know, when I talk to the grandson here, he's just coming up 18, and he said openly that they're not taught stuff like that now. You know, I mean, we didn't have calculators. We did, but we weren't allowed to use them. You had a slide rule. You were allowed that. You put that in front of most kids nowadays, or in some cases, a lot of bloody adults. They wouldn't have a clue what it was or how to use it.
We use log
But
tables.
that was our calculator, and as Heather said, we use log tables. They were written calculators, and it's totally different now. You know, the kids have got access to the internet. They don't need to think for themselves. They use the internet and Google to think for them. And that's where we're going wrong. They all cry about safety and, oh, that could have hurt me. This could have hurt me. Well, we went out and we actually learned what hurt us. You know?
We've been there a couple of times before you joined us as well, Stitch. You all right there, babe?
Yeah, I'm just reading the comment. You know what I'm like? I drift away from the comments.
That's why I asked.
I wouldn't say an oracle, Boyley.
Afternoon, by the way.
I did say good afternoon to him. Over the years, I've heard most comments, and I've had a lot of comments thrown at me, especially doing door work and that. And you just learn to go with the flow. If I think it's funny, I'll respond. If it's over the top, they'll get a warning. It might get deleted. If it persists, then yeah, you get booted. But in fairness, Jorge, with everything you put there, that's well within acceptable levels as far as I'm concerned. I'm taking it as I'm reading it. So you decided, you giving up on the feds then? Or won't they give you another pencil?
Now he's discovered he can go back and watch it.
Yeah,
give them the link.
Yeah. I mean, you've only got to give them the link to the video, to the live, because I leave them up on the channel. And that way you don't miss nothing, boy. This is what I like about the afternoon streams. It's just a bit of fun, nothing too serious. Oh, they're watching. Oh, hi, feds. We do know some of ours over here watch us as well on occasions. And on certain channels, we've actually had one or two join in. And I actually have given my channel to one or two that I've met walking around the town over the last 2 or 3 years as well. So, hi guys, if you're watching. OP, good afternoon, buddy. How you doing? You know, this is the thing, people got to realise that I come from an era where you only had 3 types of milk. And that was silver top, which was your regular milk, your gold top, which was your extra creamy milk, and then you had your red top, which was sterilised. There was none of this skimmed, semi-skimmed, boiled, long life, none of that bollocks back then. You had 3 types of milk.
Sterile was your long life.
Well, sterilised, yeah, that's what they call long life now, isn't it?
No, it's slightly different.
But there was no skimmed, semi-skimmed. And how the fuck do you get milk from a nut? I've never seen tits on one. Yes, Jorge, mine is full fat. And believe it or not, we've got a bottle in the kitchen with a screw lid, which is a milk bottle. That when we're up in Cumbria, we go to the farm, you buy the bottle, and then you just go back and fill it up. And
you still pay?
You still got to pay for it, yeah, obviously. But and we always bring a bottle back, so, and then we take the bottle back again next year. Next year, I'm thinking of getting another bottle, bring 2 back. But hey, just finishing a 5 mirror today. Only small. Oh, pasties then, Obi. I must dig out some of my old carp fishing photographs. I used to do a bit in between the sea fishing years ago. But I was one of these, I was a trophy fish hunter, really. I used to go to different lakes all around the country where all the big slabs were. And hopefully hooked up to them. And I used to spend a week or 2 trying in some cases.
Oh, you don't want to know, Alistair.
What's the longest you've ever gone without taking a shower?
Probably about 7 years, because we didn't have one when I was a kid.
7 years? Yeah, we used to have tin baths, so I never stepped into a shower until I was a teenager.
That's what I mean.
I want to try raw milk.
Well, the farm that we buy from when we were on holiday used to be raw, but now it's pasteurised. So
yeah, Rob, and also one of my cousins over in Ireland, when she was very, very young, all the kids over there were on fresh farm milk. You know, one of the uncles had actually run a dairy farm there. And out of the 5 kids, because of the milk she was drinking, for some reason, it gave her meningitis. And she had to have brain surgery for that. And she could no longer drink milk of any type. But the rest of them were fine. But they put it down to the fresh farm milk. So I'd always be very, very wary of that now. Obviously, it is treated and screened, even real farm fresh milk, before they're allowed to pass it on. Raw goat milk.
cheese by the time it got
Yeah, you can send the milk and it'll arrive cheese.
Or butter.
Yes, Stuart, and through certain training, shall I say, through certain brigades or whatever, it is recommended because you get to a level where you blend in, your aroma blends in with your background or the people that you're around, and you don't stand out. A cleaner person will usually stand out more in those circumstances. I think you know where I'm coming from there when I say that. You know, if you're trying to hide in a pile of shit, you don't want to smell like a rose, do you? Well, the link for the panel is up there if anybody fancies it. I'm not too bothered. I can sit here talking. Again, I'm planning to go till 7, but as usual, there's a very good friend of ours that has got a habit of dropping in on a Friday afternoon. He does know that I do the stream, but he's like me, he does forget. So, but if he ever does turn up, it's usually after 5 o'clock, nearer 6, and I would shut the stream down then. You really
We're all very quiet today.
Who?
The chat, everybody.
Yeah.
Very
Oh,
quiet.
we got 22 in. We're about the same as normal. British accents are taken as a sign of intellect. Yeah. But there again, Jorge, most Americans don't take the time to get to know us that well, do they? Yeah, no worries, Murph. No worries, mate. You carry on there.
Are you feeling better soon?
Not a problem, buddy. My job, we aren't allowed simply circle. Yeah, exactly, Stuart. And, you know, that was part of the training in certain companies.
But yes, you don't want to be given away by the smell of soap.
Yes, Rob. They've been here for fucking years, haven't they, mate? I mean, I remember being bitten by red ants as a bloody kid, sitting out on the grass. We've got red ants nests out here all over the place. We've got really nice loose topsoil under the grass, and they're easily burying into it. And don't matter what I do to the mounds, it's a job to get rid of them.
I had a level lawn once.
Some intellectuals even adopt an English accent to sound smart. Yes.
But they sound so false.
But yeah, exactly. As Heather said, you can pick out a false English accent. Same as you can an Irish one.
Because we don't have elocution lessons.
No. You know, some, believe it or not, and this is actual fact, that Spain, I don't know whether they still do, Spain and France used to send all their students from college that were learning English to Dublin in Ireland. They sent them to Dublin to learn English.
Had to be sure.
Because apparently the Irish speak better English than the English.
To be sure.
Always found that strange. Yes, Alistair, it's I don't know why it's like that. I don't know whether it's maybe it's a more trusted accent. I don't know. I don't know. But there are other countries that are like that as well. Not for our accent, but because of what we are, and that's what we're seeing now. A lot of people are coming here because they want to be what it's like in England, and they're ruining it. But I won't go into that because that's another subject for one of my videos. But yeah, I've always found that strange, Alistair. I mean, I think the English are held as being a bit more polite. Obviously, you got the stigma of the tea drinking with the little pinky in the air and shit like that. Yes, Alistair, and also Hollywood. Back in the early days of Hollywood, once they started doing talkies, that changed a lot about the way people viewed other countries. You know, and there is a very, very big gap between British humour and American humour as well. But like there is with other, I mean, Irish humour. I love Irish humour. Basically because they do take the mickey out of themselves. And I think that is a trait that you should have before you take the mickey out of somebody else, you know? But again, comedy is what the person listening or watching perceives as comedy. Not everybody finds things funny. We've seen that on channels time and time again. Somebody will think they're being funny. They'll drop an offhand comment, which isn't meant to be offensive, and most people wouldn't take it as offensive, but then somebody does. And that upsets the balance, as it were. The perfect example, I've said before, is Chubby Brown. Now, his adverts clearly state that he is offensive, he swears. So why would you go and pay the money to go and watch something and listen to something just to complain about it? You know, you just don't watch. Same as if you don't watch something on telly, you don't like a program on telly, you change your channel. And people seem to have lost that ability over things now, which is very sad.
I haven't watched Seinfeld for years.
Have you watched sitcom Seinfeld? I haven't personally, Jorge. The missus used to, but as she just said, she hasn't watched it for years.
It hasn't been on UK telly.
Some American comedies, I mean, you know, we know how false they are and what have you. One or two of them I do find funny. And in some cases, absolutely fucking hilarious. One, at the beginning was The Big Bang Theory. I mean, the mixtures of characters in there. It's a bit like a police abusing powers live on a Sunday night. What was the other one I used to watch years ago?
Friends?
No, not Friends. I never used to fucking watch that.
No, but the sense of humour was.
No, I can't. It was in my mind. I thought about it this morning actually, and it's gone right out of my mind. But there was another one. But Chubby was great. Never allowed on TV because of his cooking. Yeah, and really that ruined. Well, I won't say ruined because he was an absolute brilliant comedian anyway. Jethro, his routines got dumbed down quite a bit for TV when he started appearing on shows. Anybody that's seen him live on stage, he's a totally different person. Well, to be honest, Jorge, I probably could get away without wearing any 24/7 because I very rarely leave the house at the moment. I think the neighbours might get a bit pissed off with me trying to mow the lawn like it, but there you go. Yeah, that does kind of spoil it, Patrick. You know it's coming and you know it's false. It's almost as if they're instructing you when to laugh. Yeah, yeah. The British programs are just as guilty of it, Stuart. Absolutely. Absolutely, mate. But again, British comedy has changed so much. I mean, you know, I go back to the days. Um, what's one of the earliest ones I can remember?
Happy Days.
No, way back before that.
I'm just trying to do American.
Arthur Askey and Leslie Crowther
Crackerjack.
in Black and White. The early Morecambe and Wise and people like that. And I've seen the change over the years of how the acts have changed to what they're like now. Comedy was a lot more civilized back then, I'll say that. What's my favourite movie? Yes, Tony. Exactly, mate. I mean, can you imagine that? Well, it is still being aired on some of the Freeview channels, actually, and Love Thy Neighbour. Favorite movie?
Big bada bing bada boom.
Oh no. I wouldn't go down that as my favorite one.
Watch it often, you know.
That's only because there's nothing else on. I was going to say Linda Lovelace and Deep Throat, but no. I watch all sorts, mate. As I say, I like factual movies of any type. I like motor racing movies and bike racing movies. Obviously, I'm an ex-petrol head, and I still enjoy watching some of the antics, shall I say. But mainly, if I'm honest, I watch more documentaries than anything. Even on TV. Afternoon, buddy. You got no sound, mate. No sound. You muted.
He's got himself a headphone and microphone set up, and now it don't work. Bless him.
you got a headphone and mic on, Heather just said, and now it won't work. You'll have to, in these settings, you'll have to change which microphone it's using. It might be in privacy settings. But no, we can't hear you, mate. Could nod if you can hear me. Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's your mic. You need to change the settings in it. No worries. You can mime. Now, Stuart, yes, that is up there amongst my favourite ones. It was well acted, well written. Yes, they buggered around with a few of the facts, but not only because of it was fact and well written, it's because what it stood for and what it ended up doing for the prison service and what have you over there. Who are you laughing at now? What are you seeing that I ain't?
The American idea that you know we live next door to famous people because the island's so small. Did we ever meet Richard Attenborough or David Attenborough?
Well, waffle me grape nuts. I knew David Bellamy. Yeah, the island isn't that small. What else we got there? Young Guns 2, Lord of the Rings, or 3 originals. To be honest, Lord of the Rings and that, Rob, it's one of them things. If I just want to doze, have something on, then that's the sort of thing I'd have on if there was nothing else on, to be honest. Don't you live next door to Paul McCartney? Oh, Boily 2-0. Have we got anything now?
Testing 1 2 1 2.
Yay! Yeah,
Yes,
it's probably in the settings, mate. On mine, it's on Windows.
The headphones do something funky as well because it plugs into the same place a mic might plug in, but so I think it confuses the whole thing. I'm certainly confused anyway.
Yeah, what they are, I've actually got one here. Are you using a laptop, are you?
No, smartphone.
Smartphone, right. Well, then you would need, where is it?
Smart arse phone, more like.
Headset mic should work, so.
Yeah, but some of them don't take the 4-pin jack. There's a little converter you can get. But yeah, it's probably in the settings. If you go into the settings, it'll say allow external mic or something like that to use it. But we can hear you, mate. That's the main thing.
Yeah, cool.
Just having a bit of a giggle with people in the chat.
Yeah, it's hard flicking back when you're on the panel. It's hard being on the panel, everybody.
It's when you're trying to, because I've obviously got other things open here as well. You know what I'm like with multitasking. More than two, I'm screwed.
I've even forgot I'm on panels sometimes. I'm just listening, and I'm not surprised if I didn't start just picking my nose and go, "Oh shit, I'm on the panel."
I was sat on Dan's one night, and I'm just here, and I was just drifting away. You know, you all right? And all I was doing was just reading the chat, like, you know. But as Dan said, people don't realise until they actually run a stream or start making videos just how much time it can take up and the concentration level involved on a live. It's not just sitting here looking at a camera and talking, you know. And there are people like the gentleman that tried to drop in last week, but his sound, again, he was having audio issues. They're very nervous about coming on for the first time. You know, I was the first time I went on somebody's panel, as I've said before. And it's not for everybody.
No.
You know, some people just like to sit in the background and listen. Others like to have the odd comment. And afternoon, bitter. Is it evening? Oh, it is. It's 5:20. Bloody hell. Good afternoon, by the way.
When the lockdown started happening and I was feeling kind of a bit isolated and withdrawn, I sort of made myself go on the live streams purposely to get myself out of my shell, because it is a bit of a sort of, you know, it's a bit like public speaking. It sort of makes you very nervous, but it's a good thing to do, you know.
I mean, during lockdown, Dan picked up quite a few. And I think it was more that they were, as you were saying, they were looking for somewhere to go where they could chat to people. Yeah, there was some that started coming on for the wrong reasons and that, but we won't go into them. I'll keep that out of here. But I did myself. I mean, it was literally during lockdown that I decided that, no, I will start my own channel, as people were suggesting. And then as I got used to it, I was on other people's lives in the chat, and well, why don't you jump on the panel? And I literally said, well, I don't know how to, if I'm honest. And someone who's still in here now, he was in earlier on, Matrix. I was on one of his lives one afternoon, and he invited me up. And Andy Red Volvo, through the chat, talked me through the stages on how to get into StreamYard, open StreamYard, and get up on the panel. And it just took off from there.
Yeah.
You know, I just started going on other people's channels and panels. And then I thought, well, why don't I get the StreamYard on here and do one for myself?
Yeah. And as well as that, if you think if for some unknown reason there was no such thing as doing StreamYard or the other versions of StreamYard sort of thing,
yeah.
and there's
I
nothing
mean,
to replace.
Matrix has just dropped in there and said, yeah, I was his first ever guest on his live that he did.
But we'd noticed a lot if it all disappeared overnight. We would notice such a loss. How you'd still have emails, you'd still have Facebook and that, but it wouldn't be the same as having live streams and coming on panels.
Although you can go live on Facebook, but not in the same respects as you can on here. And to be honest, the only reason I got the StreamYard, me first, I think it was a couple of them, I just did through YouTube, which means you can't have guests unless you pay this, pay that, or do something else. But it got me going live. And then I got the StreamYard, and I'm still learning to use that, most of it now. When I have learned how to use it, I forget. But the new one at the moment is the editing suite I'm using. I'm learning that now because it does so much more than the old one. You know,
I've got changed.
Yeah, because I can do more. I've got them transitions and effects. I haven't even used 1% of what's on there yet.
Yeah.
You know, I can overlay audio. You've seen I can overlay pictures, captions. You never used to be able to do that with the other one. I mean, you could overlay audio, but you had to go through the process of recording the audio separate that you wanted over the picture. And this one, it's so different. Not overly complicated. It's just finding out what everything does. So all I do is, like, tomorrow, I'm buggered. I have got to say good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to Mr. Phil Cook in the chat.
Hey, Phil Cook.
Now, Phil is, if that is the genuine Phil, is a very, very old buddy of mine from way back in my youth. I'm talking primary school youth. Again, it's someone who I've got back in touch with lately through Facebook after about 40 odd years. And we're slowly catching up on there. But welcome, Phil. Changed a bit, haven't I? Still an ugly bastard. Yeah, it's me. Yeah. Welcome, mate. And hi to Lucy if she's in the background. And hi to your mum as well. She sent me a friend's request on Facebook as well. So good afternoon, good evening, Sylv, if you're about. But sorry about that, Steve. Yeah, Phil's a real old mate of mine from... We used to cause fucking mayhem around the estate.
Cars and stuff, and bikes.
Bikes, cars, anything we could get hold of, mate. If we couldn't find it, steal it, we'd make it.
There was a time I recall when I was about 16 or 17 or something. Me and my mate were driving like a 0.9 litre Fiesta through basically pedestrian areas just around his estate. It was like we're not even on the road anymore. It came to a bollard on the edge.
We
just
were
reverse all the way up the spot.
I mean, back in the years that I'm talking about, yeah, we're all getting old, Phil, believe me, mate. We were never dangerous or nasty with any of it. I mean, being in a rural area, you had lots of like green lanes and the tractor tracks down between fields. And in a couple of places, we had some sand quarries as well, where we used to take the motocrossers and stuff. So
that was about the limit of my misbehavior as well.
Weird things, but we were off the road, as it were. You know, we weren't hurting anybody.
Yeah.
And the law back then, you know, they'd come along that, look, lads, we'd rather you didn't do this, and they'd fuck you back off home. You know, they wouldn't be slamming you on the floor trying to taser you and pepper spray you like they do now.
Yeah, cops aren't all bad, like.
No, there are still some good ones out there. The trouble is they're overshadowed by the bad ones, and to be honest, I think a lot of them are frightened of the bad ones.
Must be a difficult situation for them. I was going to say exactly that.
Yeah.
Not being able to say anything, but seeing it go on. And
Hi, Stitch. Do you want to say something just so I know it's you?
Hello.
Yeah, that's okay.
Hi. Hi,
Hiya.
Steve.
hi, babe. How are you?
Hey. I'm okay, thank you.
Yeah. If you did anything dangerous back then, Stuart, it hurt, and you learnt from it. Stuck a plaster on it. That was it. No, hello. What's going on in the chat here now? It keeps flickering. YouTuber playing around again. I've had nothing for the last 2 weeks. I don't know whether anybody else has been getting them. I said in a video the other day, I keep getting an alert saying that YouTube is updating the platform in the background. I never used to get them before. And there has been a lot of strange things going on. I just can't fucking fathom it out, to be honest.
Yeah, it does sound like they've stepped up a gear and they're not even trying to hide it anymore.
Yeah, well, they never have before, have they? They used to do it within what they considered the rules. Like, oh no, we haven't removed the comments. No, we fucking hidden them well, but we haven't removed them.
The thing is, we've had shadow banning, but the way it's going, it will just be banning.
Yeah, I mean, you've only got to see the way. Once I changed what I was talking about the last couple of days in the videos, all of a sudden the viewings drop, and I know it's not because of people watching. One, they're not putting the alerts out. I've had several people get in touch with me to say they've had to go looking for the videos. I tried initially to put a post on Facebook this morning along the lines of the video that I did on YouTube. Facebook originally was having none of it. I had to rearrange all the wording and everything for it to even get posted. It just like the bigger censorship is coming in. They're gradually creeping it in. And as I said earlier, with this new online safety bill, which they discussed again the other day, it got another reading. There is a portion in there which says about, as I said earlier, the end-to-end encrypted messages and what have you. And there is also a piece in there about allowing them access to your device, which wasn't queried by them.
I've got a screenshot, Roger, something some options page on my phone, and or was it the laptop? I can't remember, but it was settings, and it was something like, where they say, "Are you going to allow this access?" And when you put it off, there was a little thing underneath it that said, "We may access it anyway." Basically, in so many words.
If we feel the need to.
They say, "Are we allowed to access it?" We're going to anyway. It's there in front of you in blue and white.
A lot of people are saying on the internet, I can't remember who was talking about it the other day. You can get around a lot of it with a good VPN. Personally, I don't use anything like that. I haven't even got OBS or anything, But yeah, it's not the fact that you can get round it. It's the fact that they're going to be implementing it. It's like I said, it goes back to that division. Stop transport, stop movement, stop communications, eventually stop food. You've got total control.
Yeah, it's
No, I still have problems commenting sometimes too on your videos.
Oh,
hello. Hello.
But yeah, the way they're doing it, I mean, they just don't even care anymore. They're not covering anything up. They're quite blatant about telling us what they're going to do. even though they promised in the beginning they weren't going to do it. And Labour now, personally, I think they've shot themselves in the foot by coming out and saying what they said yesterday about migration and immigration. So that puts them on par with the Tories. So the only people that are going to vote for those are the ones that are pro what's going on.
Is there any benefit from people like David Curtin's party, the Heritage Party?
There is, but as usual, those parties, and I'm being honest here, although I'd love to see it happen, they're not big enough, they're not powerful enough, they're not minted up enough to be able to take on the two big ones in a serious way, unless there was a real big swing in this country. The best thing they can do is an alliance.
But it would still be my ideas better than yours.
Oh yeah, there would still be the backstabbing and the slagging off. I mean, that's why I've virtually given up on PM's question times now, because they'll answer maybe 2 or 3 questions. The questions are written down before they get there. The answers are pre-written down. They just come out with a load of old spiel. They won't answer anything. And then they just go into a slagging match. And yeah, I just don't bother with that now. Good evening, Phil, mate.
Really interesting job.
How you doing, bud? Yeah, not too bad, buddy. Not too bad. How's the family?
Yeah, all good, mate. Yeah, it took me about 20 minutes to work out how to work this thing.
It took me nearly 40 years.
Oh, mate, I ain't no good with it. Ain't no good with it at all, mate.
Trouble is, when you get good enough at it, you end up doing this shit.
I just thought it was a marching thing, Rod.
No. Oh, come on, Markham. It was getting the internet and stuff like that put round it for years, but they never connected the village, did they?
We didn't have electric unless we used jump leads on the power lines.
Yeah. I remember all them power cuts. It was like, okay, where can we go tonight to see? Oh, which one's got a candle on in the window? They got some light. Let's go there.
I think a lot of them power cuts was your motorbike chains we used to throw over the power lines down Mill Road. Remember that? Blocked the whole village out for days.
See, this guy is going to let a lot of fucking old stories known about me, believe me.
I've done my time for it, Rod, so I can say what I want.
Yeah, exactly, mate. Exactly. I was sad to hear about your leg, though.
Yeah, that's what it is, mate. I've got to put my glasses on, mate. I can't see.
I have to wear mine all the time. I've got about 4 pairs in front of me for different things.
I don't like wearing them, mate, but I think it's all the welding over the years has knackered mine, so.
Yeah. I mean, me and Phil go back to the days of racing minis on the dirt tracks and all sorts.
Good days, mate.
Oh,
I was looking for probably 3-4 years for you on here.
I wasn't on here. Phil, have you got YouTube and StreamYard open?
I don't know, mate. I just followed a few links to get on here now. I ain't got a clue how to do any of it.
Because it sounds like there might be a bit of an echo, but it's not too bad. It's being as it's you. It might be somebody else, actually.
Probably me.
Sorry, Stitch.
It's all right.
Yeah, you know, the later generations, they were proud to see their Reeboks hanging up there. With us, it was by Chase and Action Men, wasn't it? With a parachute.
Yeah. Something like that. I remember when we first moved to Avon and we done it at Saxton Road, mate. They didn't know what had happened. Yeah.
Terrors of the village.
Remember when? Is that what we're going to get?
No. There is other people in here. Sorry, Phil. I'm a bit neglecting the chat here. I don't know whether you can see it, but
Yeah, I said.
Steve.
Steve,
it probably is Stuart, but he he does get confused a bit there with the tech, like I do. But yeah, I mean, Facebook, Phil, it's only fairly recently that the missus persuaded me to go on there because she was keeping in touch with people on my behalf on there. And I never wanted it because I don't like the intrusion. But they persuaded me.
I think the last time I saw you was at Imra's funeral, and I lost touch with you after that.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And that's the only time I ever get to see people now is like all the old lot. If they pop their clogs, like you get invited to the funeral, and that's it.
Yeah.
The only time you get to see anyone.
The last time I was up was for my mum's funeral. I fell out with the family a long time ago, mate.
I kept asking Paul before I lost the leg, I was still doing a bit of work, and I kept saying to Paul when he had the fencing, housewives, can you get a message to me? Yeah, but no, nothing.
He never did, mate, and he was the only one out of the family that never visited me in Cornwall. Funny enough, as well.
Don't understand it.
He sold that now. He's actually retired.
Yeah, he's gone to Thailand, and he with a girl with a chick with a dick, innit?
I don't know what's happening in his personal life. I don't speak to them, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't see anyone, mate. That since we bought this 5 acres and we got a small holding now, so I sort of shut myself away down here. I'm waiting on getting prosthetic leg next week, so hopefully I can get about a bit better then. So
it's Southmore, isn't it?
Longworth, little village called Longworth.
Longworth, yeah, Southmore out that way.
Yeah, just over the back of it. Yeah.
Rex, good afternoon, mate. So these are all the latecomers. This is why I do the stream a bit later now on a Friday. But, there's some good people in here, mate. Some of them know me quite some time. Not everybody jumps up on the panel. I only have room for 6. Being a cheapskate, I won't pay for the biggest screen ad. But it's only, as everybody knows, it's only in the last 5 years that 6 years that I've learned how to use a computer, basically. But being stuck in most of the time now after the strokes and that, it keeps me in touch with the world, mate.
Yeah.
And I've made a lot of good friends on it.
I shut the gate here, mate, and I just forget the world even exists. I mean, we moved down here during COVID, and we never left there. Then we bought it last year, and that's it. We bought a shipping container, converted that, and
I mean, when I originally moved to Cornwall, I had a little stone cottage out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
It was an old farm shack originally that had been converted. No running water, no electricity. I was in there for about a year, and I loved it.
We had no water up until last year, and then I got a mate of mine works for Pentuck. We found a water hydrant outside, so we've tapped into that, and we've had free water for about a year now. So
you reckon, Jorge? We got our resident joker in the chat saying that me and Phil are basically the cast of the Heist or a James Bond movie.
Something like that.
Sorry, guys.
I could be an evil German minion.
Yeah.
You think you have without defensive? You have not.
Right.
Yeah.
It'd be a bloody good book if we read one anyway.
Cool, wouldn't it just?
I'm up for it. I'll give you manual answers.
Where in the world is Phil? He's in what is now Oxfordshire, Stuart. He was like me. He was originally in Berkshire until they changed the borders. Not far from the Berkshire Downs. It's a little village just outside the village where we both live. Yeah, it's got colder here actually, Stuart. I mean, mine it's saying 23 now. It did go up to about 28 the other day. But when when I moved the thing out of the corner and put it over here in front of the fan, it was brilliant. It went down to about 19. Life and Times of Roger and Phil. I'd buy it. Cheers, Rob.
Players win by getting 5 numbers in the line.
Yes, Rex. They're bringing out all sorts now, mate. Everything's waning on the other one. People weren't bothering, so they had to introduce something. You know, sadly they can't invent one for the stupidity. That would go down a tree, but you couldn't trust it. When I was out
I saw a couple of thumbnails yesterday, and I thought it seemed to be saying that there's been a bit of pushback against the WEF and things like that.
Yes, there are quite a bit, mate. Quite a
That's
bit.
encouraging.
Phil, have you got something on in the background there, a TV or?
Hang on, mate. Sabah.
That's it. That's
Yeah.
what was. It creates a loop because there's a delay between StreamYard and YouTube.
All right. Sorry, mate.
No, it's not a problem. I
It's all new to me.
Mine.
It's all new to me, mate.
Bloody technology.
Yeah, I'm lost with it. Totally lost with it.
Oh, hello. Press the
It's
wrong
a blessing
one.
and a curse.
My bloody camera. No, what I was doing was just going to give Phil a general idea of how I'm set up. That's from out in the room, looking into my corner.
Bloody hell.
You're showing your best side, Rog.
He ain't got one.
That's
Oh,
my
thinking about that.
tripod, another camera, and
very
the
slick.
lights and that. And I have a whiteboard there with the notes on for when I do my videos.
I'm just on a mobile phone.
Believe it or not, I can do more on here than I can on my phone simply because I don't know what my phone does most of the time. Well, I've actually got two. I've got one, which is my personal one, and that doesn't get connected to the Wi-Fi or anything. Very, very few people have got that number. And then I've got one, a pay-as-you-go one, which is dedicated to the channel, which does connect for the Wi-Fi, so people can get onto WhatsApp. And also I get email alerts and message alerts through it as well.
You ain't got a burner phone no more then?
Well, that one is classed as a burner. It's a pay-as-you-go, and I've got about 4 different SIM cards. I put a tenner's credit on it 2 years ago, and it's still got nearly £7 worth of credit on it.
It's going to have to be 10 cans and a piece of string.
Or smoke signals in Martin.
But I'll tell you what, me and Phil lived that close to each other from the back of the houses. We could have done that quite easily with a string and 2 cans.
I don't think I'd have to report you to the animal cruelty if you're going to have to use 2 cans. They should be free.
I was trying to think, who was it I used to... Sorry, Stitch, you sat in the background there, darling. There was someone used to live over the back, and I used to really, really piss him off. Oh, Dougie Wild. I used to have a real powerful torch. It was a bit like an early Magnite.
Go straight over the back, wouldn't it?
Yeah. And he was direct in line about 150 yards behind my bedroom window. And I used to shine the fucking thing through his window. And as soon as I saw the curtains go back, I'd turn it off so he wouldn't know where it was coming from.
We used to wait for you to come out in the garden and try and get you with the pellet guns, remember?
Yeah, he used to shoot fucking air rifles at me.
We used to sit on the shed roof and wait, he's going to come out in a minute, he's going to come out in a minute. What? Open it, it worked his old man.
Yeah, that's what we were like back then. Yeah, it used to be fucking hilarious. Oh, so was everybody saying in the chat? I've been ignoring it again. Oh, hello. Example banners. What the? When did that go on to that? Oh, even bloody... No. Come on. Even StreamYard's been playing up lately as well. Right, what we got in here? Sorry, Phil. Just trying to catch up.
No,
with
it's all right, mate. I'm just sat here chilling. So,
and all Fahrenheit.
How's your day been, Phil?
sorry.
How's your day been, mate?
Yeah, good. Yeah, not bad. I got one of them spastic buggies I'm getting around on at the moment, them lecky things. So yeah, been around the
Mobility
field.
scooter. I think they
we've
call
got
them mobility
horses.
scooters.
Yeah, one of them things. Yeah.
What you
I can
want?
get up, I can get up on the back wheels now, so it's all right. But yeah, it's good crack. Get out in the field.
There's a dude round
we got
here, and he's got it
horses.
made. The front of it is made into a Harley Davidson.
Oh yeah, the free-wheel ones.
Yeah, he's driving through Asda like he's on a Harley. It's a surreal experience to see him.
We used to ride through Woolies on mountain bikes.
Yeah. You could. I was just thinking you could get that bike off a Paul and put that 600 lump in it.
Yeah. I was talking to someone about you the other day. You remember going down the A34? Me and Andrew Moody. I was on an AP50. Andrew Moody was on a C50, and you was on that Yami XS250.
Yeah.
And the oil pump seized, and you went flying past us on your ass. Remember that? I was chatting to someone the other day about it.
Yeah, the old Yamaha. Fucking hell.
Yeah, oil pump seized up on you.
That was the one I flipped over outside the shops in the village.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, he overtook us. I was on an AP50, wringing the nuts out of him, and he went by us on his ass.
Oh dear. You'd never get away with half of what we used to do now.
No chance.
Get away with it.
No chance. Not in a million years now.
No.
I do a bit down here. I got a big quad on that now. I race around. We've got an acre of woodland here as well, so I got a bit of a track in there. So,
Jorge and Alistair, I know you two work as a team in there, but you can quit that, please, if you would. Yes, Phil is an amputee. So Phil's probably quite happy, but that's the sort of thing you just don't ask of people in the chat, guys. So we'll knock that on the head now. Sorry, Phil. There's certain things that I let go on in here, and there's certain things that I don't.
What was that then, Rog?
They were just asking, can you stand up so they can see your leg? Let's see your belly button. They're a pair of jokes.
Oh, right. They're welcome. They're welcome to my postcode if they want to say it to my face.
Yeah. But while you're on your knees having a good look down there, be careful of what's in front of you.
Yeah. These hands still work, Rog.
Yeah. I've always said the same, mate. I haven't got a lot of fitness and anything now due to the strokes, but I can last long enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all right, Jorge. I mean, you say you're American and things are a bit different, and the way things are done over here are different, especially on my channel. I run my channel how I want. Other people run theirs how they want. And on some channels, comments like that would be accepted. And that's why I'm not making a big deal out of it. Yes, fair enough. You didn't know Phil was an amputee, but yeah, it's just one of them things.
Life still goes on, mate.
Matrix, it's all right. These two have been in here the last few weeks, and yeah, they have a bit of a laugh, but they've found my limits last week on some of the stuff they said. Let's put it that way. I don't play fools lightly.
No, I don't blame you.
And if you think I'm harsh in here, you want to see me on police abusing powers. I wave a huge spanner around in there. But sorry, guys, me and Phil taking over the chat a bit there. It's I've been in touch for a little while with him now on Facebook, but it's the first time we've seen each other face to face for at least 40 years.
That's
no, Emira's, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It's like watching Cannibal Run.
Well, sadly, this is a trait as you get older. The only time you do get to see your old mates is when you're burying one of them.
Yeah. You're right there, mate.
I mean, people move away, they forge new lives for themselves. But in a lot of circumstances, that is where old friends will come together. Sad, but
I will have to get up your way though, Rog, and see you, mate, before too long. So
yeah, not a problem, buddy. Not a problem. Like I say,
just-
we're on a
I
little.
gotta get a few extra batteries though for me buggy.
It is reasonably flat round here, but there's nowhere
Yeah.
to go.
No, I'm back driving now anyway. I welded a bar across the throttle pedal. I got a left foot throttle now, so back on the road again now. Back in driving the diggers. So
Rob W. She was in the chat earlier. She is probably still watching and listening in the background. But she's taking a lot more time to herself at the moment, as one or two other people are. Just doing personal things, basically. There are one like Dan's mission today, as we said earlier. Somebody asked. He had the thing done that he was on about on Sunday, and he's recovering and convalescing. So that's why he's not in here. Trying to sleep. Yeah, he hasn't slept for about 36 hours.
Probably closer to 40 now.
What's that, Rob W? That's still too smeg hot for this Viking. Yeah, the Vikings like a cold, Rob. Bit like Huskies. Rob, I hope that. Yeah.
Can they not send down a couple of Valiums his way, or has that not been? Or is there a reason he can't
What
do
was
that?
Sorry, Steve.
I was saying, talking about Dan and his insomnia. Would the doctors not sling him a couple of Valium?
The thing is, he is on a lot of medication. So one, he's got to be very, very careful what he takes on top of other stuff. Obviously, as you know, everything has a reaction with something in one way or the other. But his sleep, I believe it's like me. A lot of it is to do with the fatigue, because it's got that bad since he's had the stroke. And you do literally, like, I can be sat here now, and you've seen me do it when we've done longer streams on a Sunday night. I can sit here some nights for 4 or 5 hours and I won't have a problem. And then all of a sudden things start going out of focus. It's almost like you're going to black out, but a softer version. Like you start getting the graining in your vision, and you do start to feel a bit woozy. And that's the fatigue, the ME hitting. And you can get through it if you push, but then the body resets itself, and that will be another 24 hours before you can sleep again. So what me and Dan do is when that comes on, because the body's telling you at that point, you need to sleep. I need to recover. So that at that point, that's when I drop out and go and lay down, as it were.
Yeah.
I give it the sleep when it wants it, not when I think it needs it.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, it means going to bed sometimes, which quite often is 9, half 9 in the evenings. I'll be awake again at 2, 3 o'clock. But then I will just lay in bed and relax and rest, even though I'm awake. But then the restless leg syndrome kicks in, and that just makes me irritable. It wakes Heather up. So I get up. You know, it's a vicious circle.
Mm.
And the more you try to do about it, the more tired you get. And that's the same with my mate Craigie, who dropped in the chat earlier today. He's just had a stroke, and quite a severe one. He's lost a little bit of movement in the lip. He does sag a bit one side. His speech is affected, but he's coping. But I think because he didn't expect it, he didn't realise how long the recovery would take. as Dan says, same as I do, it's the brain reconnecting itself and repairing the damage. Sometimes it's successful, sometimes it isn't. But overall, it's a very slow process. It's not like an electrical connection. It's there. Once it's connected, it has to learn all its functions again. And that's where my memory goes. That is one of the things.
You're lucky you've got a functioning brain.
Yeah, well, some would dispute that fact from the beginning, to be honest. And Phil will probably agree with you.
Yeah.
Most of the time it was left in a bucket in the garage anyway, but but yeah, that's what happens during the stroke. And some people cope better than others. With me, because of my age, it's very, very unlikely that a lot of it will repair itself. So in some respects, I'm quite lucky that it didn't do that much damage.
That's what I was saying.
You know, some things have got a little bit better, but due to the ME, they openly said that there is every chance that that's not going to change, that I've got that for good. And that, as I've said before, Steve, if you remember to you a couple of weeks back, that has been the hardest part of dealing with it, is the lifestyle changes I've had to make to deal with it, knowing that those changes are more or less permanent.
Yeah.
It hasn't happened over time, so you don't get used to it. It's like, boom, you got to stop doing it. You got to do this now.
Yeah.
And with Dan, because it's a lot worse, he even has to plan a trip to his local shop about how long it's going to take, how he's going to get there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm lucky. I've got a shop right on the corner.
Mm-hmm.
It's less than 100 yards away.
And a shopper.
And a shopper. But yeah, I can get there if I need anything in an emergency. But I'll have to sit down and rest for an hour when I get back, just doing a few 100 yards.
Yeah.
Yeah. The following day, I could go out there, walk up and down and cut the lawn, and it wouldn't affect me.
Mm.
Yeah. Another day, I'll go out there, I'll cut half of it, and I've got to come in and lay down for an hour before I go back and do the rest. You never know what's going to happen. And that
becomes a case of managing things, managing symptoms, managing. It's like
very much.
And luckily enough, Heather knows what sort of things to look for. You know, things I'm doing different that I haven't noticed. In particular, after the blood clot, back in 2014, I had the blood clot on the brain. Now, she noticed certain changes in me then. My attitude, in particular, my memory. And I didn't notice until she started to really point these things out and said, look, it has affected you, even though you don't think it has. And yeah, once she started pointing the individual things out to me that I was doing.
And you believed me.
And I couldn't do anything but believe her and agree with her. You know? That's why sometimes I get my words mixed up. The fact that I am slightly dyslexic anyway.
Was it a left hemisphere stroke or a right hemisphere stroke, Roger? Or is it both now?
It all affected my right hand side, so it would have been a left hemisphere. It always affects the opposite side.
That explains the words, because the left hemisphere is responsible for the words, mostly.
Yeah. I've always been one of these. When I say dyslexic, I understand basic image. How can I explain it? You know, like when you look at a road sign, they're actually designed, even though it don't spell the word, it don't look like the word, they're designed to make you know what it says.
Yeah, the symbols.
Well, when I read, my brain says it like that. Like the actual word dyslexia. Okay, yeah, I use it quite regular and I do pronounce it right now. The one I'm famous for is colours. Now, I've got to get this right. Burgundy, the colour burgundy.
Yeah.
I always called it Bigrundy. What's the other one that I always fuck up? Oh yeah, now pronounce it right. Magnolia.
Yeah.
I always say
Mangolia.
Mangolia.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
I knew a
it's-
fella, and he'd always mix the two letters up in the middle of a word, whatever they were. He'd say them the other way around. Mangolia, things like that.
yeah. It's just the way my eyes say, and it just comes out. It's just as well I haven't got a stutter as well, otherwise I'd really fucking confuse myself. Right, guys, I'll trust you all to keep it clean. Maybe Stitch would like to come in and chat. Sorry for everybody knows each other in here, Phil. You'll get used to them, mate. But right at this minute, I will hand the chair over to my missus as I'm busting for a piss.
Like the way you whispered that, so no one could hear it. Nice one.
Yes, but unlike some, I don't take the microphone with me. You know what I mean?
That's only Murph and his mates.
Yeah.
I'm going to come and say hello to Phil. Hello, Phil.
How you doing?
Nice to meet you. Another
And you too.
tearaway.
That's Heather, by the way, Phil.
I'm Heather, otherwise known as Mrs. W in the chat. Nice to meet somebody else, even if only online. From Roger's past, I've met a fair few, but good for him to get in touch with somebody else from the past.
Yeah. I tried for ages trying to find him, but like I say, I spoke to his brother Paul, and he said, "Yeah, I'll tell Rog." And 4 or 5 years went by, still nothing. And I see something pop up on Facebook, and I thought, he's on here. So yeah, good friend, real good friend of mine.
Yeah,
Right.
he was always available through myself, but knowing who I was part of your problem. Anyway, Steve, Stitch, how are you
Hello.
both? You've been ignored.
Hello.
Because Phil jumped on just after you. So
Hey,
things
Mr.
good with
W.
both of you?
Very
Yeah?
well. Yeah. Very well, thank you.
And Stitch?
Yep. Awesome.
And that marvellous young man of yours, how's he?
He's great. Yeah, he's downstairs laughing his head off at TV right now, so he's doing good. Bless him.
Good. Glad to hear it. Glad everyone's okay.
He told me to tell you hello anyway.
Give him a big hug from me back, please do.
Definitely.
Please do. One of these days we will meet up and he'll get one in person.
I was saying that they were gonna come up to one of Dan's things, and
Yeah.
it'll be really fun, I think.
Well, if Dan moves down south, it won't be. God knows where we'll meet up. So, because he was saying that once if he gets a place down in Southend, you know. But whatever.
Yeah.
Organise a meeting in the Midlands. No, I don't have room for everybody. Pick a travel lodge somewhere. We'll take over.
Find one of they ain't full of fucking immigrants.
Well, there is that. So it's a bit quiet today. Only 21. We're normally up into the 30s by now.
Oh, yeah.
Right, he wants his seat back. Well,
Nice to hear you, Mrs. W.
I'll go back into the background, back where I belong.
Let's speak soon, Heather.
Take care all. No, it's a button.
Bye.
A hole from there.
Yes, I'm going to take the buttons off because the
Okay.
cover's gone off the button.
Well, there you go, Phil. That's the other half.
Nice to meet you, mate.
And I got to admit, I'll admit it's the better half.
She's a gem, all right.
Well, put it this way, I fell on my feet. She's, I'll give you the numbers so you know what I'm talking about. She actually owns and enjoys using a Ripley Elite and a HW97, the stainless version.
Very nice.
And she also enjoys sea fishing.
Fell on your feet then, mate.
And that is just one of 2 of 14 that we own. But yeah, we what was it, 15 years ago, 14 years ago?
Something like that, yeah.
We met through a mutual friend in a pub that we were there just there to listen to the music, and that was it. It went from there.
Couldn't get rid of him.
Couldn't get rid of me. No. I don't drink. I haven't drunk for probably best part of 10 years easy now.
Not since he took me down to Newquay and I had to carry him back to the hotel.
Yeah. We went down to Newquay a few years ago to see some of my old mates down there. And as everybody else knows, I had the indignity of being carried back under her arm to the hotel drunk. At that point, it was no more. I've been making a dick of myself for 40 years. It stops. Well, kind of. But no, it's. I was quite. It was great to see you in the chat, and then all of a sudden you popped up on the panel, mate.
Didn't even know what I was doing. I was just pressing buttons, and I thought, well, how can I get on here? It just happened. It just happened, mate.
Sometimes we do ask people to verify, because I can see who's come up before you actually come up on the panel, because I have to allow you in there. And because a lot of channels suffer from porn bombing. Sorry, guys in the chat, I'm not watching it at the moment. You get guys coming in, porn bombing. They'll put a false picture up. When you put them on the panel, you got porn or gore. So what we tend to do, if we don't know the person, know the background, know the voice, whatever, and they're very clever, they do use videos as well. We ask them to do something in the background to prove they're live.
Oh, right, yeah.
Like, you know, touch your head with your right hand or touch your nose with your middle finger or your left hand, just to verify that they're there live. Unfortunately, it's the way social media's gone, because they can get channels pulled down through it, unfortunately.
Sad,
You guys, I'm going to hop off now.
Okay, Steve, no worries, mate. Thanks for dropping by.
Nice to see you, Steve.
A pleasure, Phil. I'm glad you caught up with Roger at last. What a nice surprise.
It's brilliant, mate.
Where's Cilla Black when you need her? Take it easy, guys. Love you all.
Take care, Steve. Look after yourself, buddy. But, you know, this is, I've always said, this is the good side of social media and the internet.
So what are we actually on YouTube then?
Yes.
We're
I don't know where I am even.
we're on what's called StreamYard. That link you clicked on takes you to StreamYard.
Right.
The stream is going out on StreamYard, but streaming it through YouTube.
Right.
Now, if you're on a phone, then you probably won't be able to see it. But if you've got StreamYard on one and YouTube on another screen, because I can see both, there's a 15-second delay between me talking to you here and it coming up on the YouTube.
Right. Okay.
And that's where you get that loop in the sound, because if you've got StreamYard open and the volume on YouTube, the microphone picks up YouTube after you've said it on StreamYard,
Right.
creates that loop or an echo.
Yeah.
Pops,
Yes, darling.
is there a way for pop back in a sec?
Yeah, of course you can, darling. I'll be here till probably about 7 o'clock. So
All right, cool. Back in a minute.
All right, sweetie.
All right, in a minute. Bye, Pop. Bye, Heather. Bye, Phil.
Bye. So
See
each
ya.
time you pop up, the link comes up on Facebook. Then if I click on it, I can get the chat to you. Yeah.
Yeah, if you click on the link on Facebook, that takes you to the YouTube stream
Right.
where you'll only be able to take part in the chat.
Right.
Then when I put the StreamYard link at the top and pin it, you click on that. That takes you into StreamYard, into the studio, where I
Right.
can allow you up on the camera.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm with you now. Yeah, because I had to press a number of things to actually get.
Yeah,
I had to do a microphone test and then something else, and then press that and press that, and then do I want to join the studio? Yes, and yeah, it was a bit of a. I didn't know where I was going to end up, to be honest with you.
Well, what happens is when you press join studio. Good afternoon, Phil. What that does, that brings you up in what is called my back room,
Right.
where below the screen that you can see. Hiya, Luce. Woohoo! Yeah, that brings
Just
you
walked in the door and was staring. Who's that? You knew straight away, did you?
what that does is bring you into my back room. You're not on the screen in public, but I can see you there.
Right.
And then what happens? Then it's up to me whether whoever's in there, if I let them up on the panel or I keep them in the back room.
Yeah.
I can drop anybody into the back room at any time during.
But you can still see them, but they can't see anyone else but you.
Yes.
Right, I'm with you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know how it worked. I sort of watch some of your stuff when I've missed the lives. I've watched them on YouTube.
Yeah.
And I've always wondered how you get into them to sort of have a chat with you at the same time.
Yeah, that's how you do it, mate. I mean, if you don't want to come on camera and you're just happy typing in the comments, you don't even need to come in StreamYard. You can do that in the chat, like on YouTube.
It's just nice to talk more or less face to face, mate, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Be aware if you want a phone, it will use a lot of extra power while you're streaming.
No, I'm linked up anyway, mate. We got one of them roadside generators down here, so I've got plenty of power.
Afternoon, Beach Demon. Welcome. I was running a lot of mine off my laptop.
Yeah.
But I had it set up with an extra monitor and microphones plugged into it and cameras. And I had to get it upgraded, but it still was too slow for what I wanted to do. It was a damn good laptop, well upgraded. And a very kind subscriber who built computers offered to build me one.
All right.
He does upgrades, so obviously he has loads and loads of spares and stuff like that. And he built me an all singing, all dancing desktop.
Nice.
Police abusing powers. Last time I went up to Liverpool to see him, he gave me a pair of monitors that he didn't use anymore. That's it. I'm on the way, mate.
Yeah. We're just like I say, we're on generator down here at the moment. We ain't even got Wi-Fi unless it's on our phones, so we're sort of trying to get things done. I started fitting solar panels in, like to try and draw some power via the solar panels, but internet-wise, it's hard to get some sorted at the moment. But like I say, we got our phones, so it does the job at the moment.
Yeah, but you're going to be using data up all the time on that.
Yeah. Well, I got unlimited data anyway, so it don't really matter. That's a beauty of living off grid, though, mate. You ain't got to answer to nobody, so.
Yep, quite agree, mate.
Totally off grid down here, so.
What?
Yeah, it's good.
Are you keeping an eye on the chat, babe? Because I ain't got a clue what's going on in there.
So you got another lot of chat going on as well, then, have you?
Well, there's nobody in private chat at the moment, because if you look on StreamYard, there is the normal chat, and I've got it on YouTube as well.
Right.
But part of StreamYard is there's a private chat. If you go into that, only people that are on StreamYard can see the messages in there.
Right. I've just got you and me on the screen. That's all I've got.
Yeah. I've got all the chat in front of me on YouTube as well.
Yeah. Do you want to have, Roger, have a quick chat with Luce? I've just got to go and put some of the dogs in.
All right, mate.
Hello, stranger.
Hiya, sweetheart. Of course, you haven't changed, have you?
Yeah, I have. Loads.
No, your hair is still the same.
Yeah, pretty much.
You wore your hair like that, the same as I remember you.
Pretty
did you
much.
hear about Ozzy, by the way?
No.
When I left him with the kids because they loved him and he was great with them. He was always protecting them like he did.
Get off.
And about a year after I left, he got out and got run over.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a shame.
I always remember because he was one of your litters, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was, yeah.
You know?
Oh, bless him.
Alistair, what if you had unlimited money for just one purchase, what would you buy? Well,
That's making you think now, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's got to be something that makes money, so it's got to
Yeah,
be a business.
you've got to. If it's unlimited to start with, it don't. Well, amounts don't make, but you'd obviously buy something that's going to continue to make you money,
Google.
like the Royal Mint or the government. They always seem to make money for themselves, don't they?
Oh, don't they just, yeah. My gran used to have a toilet roll holder in her toilet, and it used to say, "Don't sit here all day dreaming of that £75,000." And you could guarantee that that's all you did every time you went down that bloody toilet.
Yeah. I always said I started out with nothing and I got most of it left.
That's about right, yeah.
But, you know, I mean, on here, because a lot of the guys in here and the other one that I'm usually on the panels, that I'm quite a big part of the channel, they quite often like some of the stories about from my past and that, like me and Phil were chatting earlier.
Yeah.
Because a lot of them are younger than me. Some not so much, one or two around the same. Got a few vets in here as well, one or two that are slightly older than me. They like hearing about the past and how it compares to today.
Yeah.
You know, and I quite often go into how different it was.
Yeah.
You know? I mean,
God, it definitely was.
Yeah, I mean, you could walk up through Marcham with a bloody shotgun over your shoulder, no bang, and nobody would bat a fucking eyelid. You know,
but then you wouldn't get run over either, would you?
No, well, not unless I was driving, but...
I mean, I used to push bike to Marcham just to see Phil.
Yeah.
Didn't worry about it. Jesus, I wouldn't attempt it now.
No. I think the only one that ever had a serious accident on a push bike was David Moody, Nat's brother, when he got knocked off along the Marcham Road when they reconfigured it that time. And they hadn't put the footpath in. And he got seriously injured when he got knocked off his bike along there. That's, as far as I can remember, that's the only one.
Well, 3 young lads died there a couple of months ago in Marcham at the tree on the bends.
Oh.
One of them was our neighbour's son, but the bends just before. Yeah, Bluebow Woods, isn't it? They called it. Yeah.
Coming round by the old football field, the kids' football field.
Yeah.
Roger's old motocross track.
Yeah.
Yeah, they obviously come through there speeding because they bent a BMW in half and 2 of the kids got thrown out of it.
Yeah, but there was always that hump in the road there for the drain into the stream. And if
there's always water sits there, but that wasn't an excuse that night because it hadn't been raining. So
the only way you'd crash there is speed, excessive speed.
It had to be. It's all 30 through there now, but there's no way they were doing 30. But 3 of them lost their lives, and the driver's still in a coma apparently in hospital.
Oh, Christ. I mean,
Not that he needs,
I
not that he needs
used
to be alive.
well, as Phil knows, I used to really, really push it on the S-bends.
Oh, so did Phil, yeah.
And yeah, a couple of times I aborted and ended up going up the steps by the Baptist church.
The trouble is, we used to do it on the back fucking wheel, not on
Yeah.
two fucking wheels. It'd be on one wheel.
Who was it? Nat learned the lesson about telling me that you can't wheelie a Honda Goldwing and then letting me try on it. Of course you can
I
wheelie
don't
a
know.
Goldwing.
But yeah, it was a lot better. It was a lot better 20, 30 years ago than it is now.
Oh, tell me about it. What's Jorge? You must have seen a '94 Chevy Impala SS. Yes, I've seen a few of them, and what I don't know about a '94, '96. Some of the earlier ones, some of the lads used to race them up the pod. I did take on one at one point with my Pontiac, and I believe I took one on with a Chevy. But
We're replying to a message from Dad.
I'm back.
nice to see her again.
Nice to see you too, Raj.
I have to behave now, see, Rog, because she's the landowner.
There you go. There you go. Well, believe it or not, well, my name's on it all now anyway, but the council house was Heather's. I used to have a flat round the corner when I worked at the hospital. And it seemed pointless keeping the flat on when she had a 3-bedroom house here. So
Yeah.
even better now.
We're hoping to get it. We're hoping to get it all
And she
passed
said-
down here soon. So hopefully we'll be all right then.
You'll relate to this with me, Phil. She always said I moved in because I could have a shed in the garden.
Did you ever tell her the story about when you missed the school coach
Oh, yeah.
and you nicked your uncle's grass track bike and sidecar and went to Fitzharris School and burnt the football field? Do you remember?
Yeah.
I can remember sat waiting for the Larkmead coach and you went flying by on a motorbike and outfit.
And I'll tell you what, mate. Let me see if I can find it.
I think it was a Jawa, wasn't it? A Jawa outfit.
It was the Triumph, 650 Triumph, wasn't it?
Was it?
I'm
Yeah, I
just
remember
looking,
you.
because somewhere in here, I can't remember whether it was put on the computer, but I have definitely still got a picture of that outfit, and I took it with who was sat on it. My sister was sat on the bike, and Heidi Spindler was sat in this chair.
God, bloody hell, yeah, I remember, yeah.
No, I haven't had it put on the computer yet.
There's that one. There was the PE used to wheelie that, and I can remember coming round the garage one day. And you just bought a Triumph Jubilee.
Yep.
And it had the pannier on the tank. It was absolutely mint.
Yep.
There you were, axle, hammers, back suspension off and hard-tailed it, ripped the rack off the front, matte blacked it into a complete rat bike in about 2 hours. Totally destroyed a classic bike.
Yep. And
I remember that. I remember it all, mate.
Who had it off me was Ratchet. Phil Lacey.
Yeah, Ratchet, yeah.
And he totally destroyed the thing.
Well, he destroyed everything he got on, didn't he?
Well, yeah, and himself in the end, didn't he?
Yeah. But yeah, I got some good things I can remember. Real good.
That Missy, that's all right, sweetheart. Not a problem. I know afternoons during the week people who do other things, and they do things while they're listening and watching. So those look like limousines for the purchase. Yeah. Consumable. Well, it won't be alcohol, Alistair. It would be more likely be. I was going to say devil's lettuce, but more likely to be chocolate. There's a lot of the guys in here, Phil. You get to know them; they're regulars. These two are quite new, but they are quite amusing at the moment.
Yeah, at the moment.
We're going to show or staying up.
Took a few. Didn't
Me
you say hello, Zaki? There's one that Rog.
Down a bit, you can't see him. That's it.
hello, puppy.
Where's it, Zaki? Where's it? Where's it, boy?
Who's it, Becky?
Where's it then?
Who's it?
Beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah, but I've still got some photos of Ozzy, right from a pup. But over the years, where I've been moving around the country, a lot of me photos got lost. A lot of them.
Yeah, this is her life. These are.
Yeah.
These. Well, we got how many you got now? 24.
Oh my God.
Yeah, 24 shepherds. We got 6 donkeys. Yeah, 6 donkeys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 horses.
Oh, I don't know. I've lost count of them.
7 horses.
6 horses.
About
ponies, 4 horses.
about 10. About 12 ducks. 5 goats.
I got 1
6
miserable.
pigs. Mate, it's an absolute menagerie. Peacocks.
Show your face. Show your face.
Yeah, got the lot.
Yes. No, I
no,
got
we got
the cat.
Yeah,
we got the cat.
she's got cats as well, mate. Got everything. Nothing changes.
Rob. Yeah. I don't believe in religion, so I wouldn't say God's medicine. Really, the devil's lettuce. I don't believe in the devil. So, yeah, I'd just say nature produced a wonderful thing. Although, as I say now, I do use it more for serious medical issues like mid-leg tremors and mid-cramps. But yeah, it does on the odd occasion have, shall we say, an enjoyable side effect.
I'll tell you what, though. You say about all the injuries and that, though. Do you feel better now, Rog, than you did?
Yeah. Probably because I've more accepted it, you know?
Yeah. I mean, my leg, when I had that from like when I was 16 and I had the crash and going through everything. I mean, I worked every day. It never got to me. But it's like the later years, sort of 3 years ago, it really started getting bad on me. And then I suffered a year with sepsis. I had to have a bottle strapped to me with antibiotics running through me 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
And it just got it was just tiring, mate. It was wiping me out. And then when they give me the option to like chop it off below the knee, that was just over a year ago now.
Yeah.
I led awake while they did it as well. I didn't get knocked out. I heard the saw going. I see the leg getting carried away. Never, honestly, Rog, it was like someone had pulled a bullet out of my stomach that had been there for 30 odd years.
Yeah. I
never,
you
ever felt better. Never, ever have I, in my entire life, have I felt better than I have done the last 12 months. As though I ain't got a leg, but I'm still using a chainsaw. I'm still jumping up in the diggers. I'm still doing everything I want to do, but with no pain.
Yeah. It does get to that stage, you know. I mean, a mate
It
of mine,
did me, mate.
Lukey, he had a disfigured hand quite badly. And he could never use it properly. And in the end, you know, he was in a lot of pain with it, same as you were with your leg. And in the end, he said, look, is there an option where I can just have it removed and have a hook? At the time, there weren't any of these bionic.
Yeah.
And that. And they said, well, we don't like doing it, but if that's what you want, they didn't butt an eyelid about, okay, I'll have it done. And he always said it was the best movie ever made.
Yeah. I wish I'd have done it 20 years ago, mate. I really do. Now I'm feeling the way I am. 20 years ago, I'd have jumped at it. I really would have.
You coped with it in your early years.
Yeah, which it should have been really the time I was enjoying life. You know what I mean? But it was every morning, Rog, getting up for work. It was just you knew the pain you was going to go through all day.
Exactly.
I get up in the morning. All right, I'm hopping around at the moment because, like, I'm next Friday I go up to get my prosthesis foot, and it's going to feel weird. But at the moment, I can get up, hop around, make a cup of tea, go out and do the animals. No pain, no tablets, no painkillers, no antibiotics, no nothing, mate. And it's an absolute bliss. It really is.
Yeah.
Disabled or not, I don't care. You know, I'm happy. I don't give a shit what anyone else says. Really, it don't bother me, mate.
It was the same when I destroyed my shoulder. I mean, I used to race mountain bikes for years, doing downhill. And they used to put me in the veterans class because of my bloody age. I was doing this up until 5-6 years ago. They always put me in the veterans, although I was quicker than a lot of the regular guys. I decided after I'd had certain operations and stuff that, look, you know, I've got to slow down. I've got to take a step back from competition because I'm going to get seriously hurt before. I had some big crashes and got away with it. And I decided that when we went down to Wales for a weekend down there, that was going to be my final competitive ride, as it were. Second fucking run of the day, I absolutely destroyed my right shoulder. The AC joint exploded. All the tendons and ligaments exploded. I mean, that shoulder now is about 3 inches lower than it should be because it won't stay up there. But I still went back to riding. But I got to a stage where things were starting to hurt more. And stuff like that. And then I had the bypass to cope with as well. I had a femoral aortic bypass because I'd lost all the feeling in the left leg. And I just got to a point where I can't ride anymore. I can't physically do it. I did, during lockdown, get me my hardtail mountain bike out, which I use on the road and used to use for riding around the park. And I went for a ride on that for a couple of hours. I was absolutely fine. But now with the fatigue and the ME, I'd be lucky if I got 100 yards from the drive, mate.
Yeah, I know it's a lot of its age, mate, isn't it? To be honest with you.
And with me, because I was such a dick through my life, enjoying life and doing things I was told not to do, it hit very quick. It all came within 5 years, more or less. You know, I got old overnight.
Mate, we should have been dead 20, 30 years ago.
Oh, fuck me. I should have been dead 40, 45 years ago, mate.
The things I've done, mate, are suicidal. But you do them. You know, I mean, I was 4 days out of hospital, told I had to lay up for 2 weeks with my leg up in the air, like, to stop the stitches from popping out. Back off, mate. 4 days after I was home, I was in the shed, got the quad out, and I was racing the quad around the field. I do it. I know nothing phases me now, Rog. Nothing whatsoever. Less now because I ain't got a bad leg to hurt.
Yeah.
So now the brain has sort of gone 20 years younger.
They cut your brain out, didn't they?
No, they didn't. But yeah, I know where you're coming from, mate. But I've got worse. I've got I don't give a shit no more. Whereas I did when I had the leg, I sort of used to think, no, in case I come up, I'm going to hurt my leg. Now I ain't got a leg to hurt. So
you can lean over further.
yeah. The trouble is, you get the old quads, and if you've ridden quads.
Yeah.
But you get the quads, and you go around the bends, you're leaning over the other way. So it's a bit like an outfit.
Yeah.
Of course, you ain't got the leg to counterbalance you, so the old stump's starting to slide over the tank, and your nose is nearly hitting the ground before you realise. Yeah. So they sort of banned me from riding it for a little while. So
we have a new name in the chat. Caracatus. Welcome. Caracatus. Caracatus.
I thought it was Caractacus.
Caractacus.
There's an extra A in there.
Correct.
So-
And that wasn't he Roman?
You sure it's not Burgundy?
Yeah, Big Grundy. But we've got a big thing going on with Dan at the moment. He's got what name is it? What's the name on his shirt? Is it Hugo Boss?
One of them, yeah.
He wears a branded shirt on his show sometimes, and it's quite obviously blue. But as soon as he comes on wearing it, everybody tells him it's purple.
Right, we're going showering.
Right, Rog, I've got to go and fix a digger for somebody. So I hope to sort of. When are you on next?
I do a live every Friday afternoon,
Right.
4 o'clock till 7 o'clock. Most Sundays, you'll find me on another channel called Police Abusing Powers.
Oh, I'll come on that.
But we don't normally fire the panel up till 10 o'clock. We have
Right.
a couple of hours of ringing. I mean, he's got 40,000 odd, 45,000 subs. So
Okay.
there's usually a few hundred in there. So we do a phone in for the first couple of hours where we're all in the chat. And then he opens up the panel, and I'm always in there. I'm part of the channel, part of the furniture. They
All right,
actually
then,
call
mate.
me Pops.
Pop.
Pop, yeah.
All right, mate. Well, all the best to you, buddy. And
Well, great to see you again, bud. Great.
and nice to meet the good lady as well, bud. So
And to the lovely Lucy in the background there.
Nice to meet you both.
Mwah.
too.
you
Take
take care,
care,
bud. All right? Take care, buddy.
Look after yourself, dude.
Yeah, and you, bud. Bye, mate.
Bye. Oh, what a surprise. And yeah, that has got to be, again, 40 years since I've seen Phil. It was only a week or two ago that we got back in touch on Facebook. I didn't even know he was on there. He actually found me. Sadly, he lost his father a little while back, Bob, who was a good drinking buddy of mine back in the day. But his mother is still alive, and even she's got in touch with me on there. And I've added her as a friend. So, Sylv, if you're watching, hi to you, sweetheart. But,
You'll have to make sure you post a link to Pap's channel on your on your Facebook, so that
yeah, I always do. I always post up the
so that
thing
Phil
for
can
it.
find you.
Yeah. I don't know whether he's still watching it. If not, Phil, if you are watching, I will put it up on Facebook Sunday when he does do lives. But there probably won't be one this Sunday. But yeah, you'll know. What kind of lotion do you use, Jorge? What kind of lotion do I use? Actually, as it happens, that one. There you go. Didn't expect that, did you? But I prefer to use the lotion in the ocean, if you know what I mean. No, that's the wrong word, isn't it? That's motion
That's
of the
the
ocean.
motion of the ocean.
No, all right. Belay that. I'm getting the words mixed up again. But no, I'll tell you what, no disrespect to you guys on there in the chat and those that were up on the panel. But Phil jumping in like that has actually made this stream for me. That
He's a
is
happy bunny.
made me up. That has. It really has. What kind of toothpaste? I use wood ash, to be honest. And lots of polish, because mine are plastic, so I can put them in the dishwasher if I want. Saves a lot of hassle.
The the FBI asked some strange bloody questions.
I know, yeah. Why would the feds want to know what toothpaste I use? That depends whether I'm sat facing it or away from it, Jorge. Aquarius cream butter Frenchie. Sorry about that, guys, in the chat. But it's what happens when you meet up with somebody you haven't seen for so long, especially when it's someone that was a good mate. He did actually damage his leg severely in a motorbike accident, and it's plagued him ever since. And as you heard the rest of the story,
I was right.
What?
He did mean Caractacus. He's Mr. C.
Caractacus.
Caratacus. Caratacus.
Wasn't it Roman? Like Bigus Dickus. Or Incontinentius buttocks.
Oh no, Caratacus was a 1st century AD British chieftain of the Catavaluni tribe who resisted the Roman conquest of Britain.
Oh, there you go.
Caratacus.
He wasn't Roman, he fought against the Romans.
But even Wikipedia is telling me I want Caractacus.
It's like Countdown, isn't it? It's having that person in the background doing the research after the question's been asked.
But when I put that in, it brings me up Caratacus.
Yeah.
And then images for Caractacus. Maybe there's 2 spellings. Yes. Here we go. Here, history of Caractacus. Caractacus, sometimes known as Caratacus or Caradoc, was the son of a Celtic king. Too many C's and K's. Cunobeline or two different spellings, same thing. So Caractacus it is.
He was an English warlord that fought against the Romans. There you go. So, yeah, well thought out name, that one, if you're a Brit. Better than some I've seen in here. But there you go. That's another short story, isn't it?
Ah, but Caractacus was the guy who taught me what posh meant.
Taught you what posh meant?
Yeah, but that was Caractacus Potts.
Oh, okay.
Caractacus Pot from Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Port out, starboard home, posh.
Right, well, that's getting on, people. I'm going to give it another 10 minutes, quarter of an hour. That's nearly 7 o'clock. He kicked ass, Roger, sent them packing back to Rome. Yep.
There's a song about it.
The Court of King Caractacus. Yeah. Nice one, mate. Yeah. Well done. Like it.
Yes, it's been going round and round in my head, and I've been trying to figure out what it was called all the time I was looking up this, and it's not come up on Google.
Yeah, the Court of the Great King Caractacus.
But wasn't it the Great Kiddie Fiddler?
Yeah, something like that, wasn't it?
No, it was Rolfie, wasn't it?
No, that was Rolf. That's Harris, not Caractacus.
Didn't he sing it?
He might, yes, actually. Someone correct us in the chat, but didn't Rolf Harris sing it?
We're just passing by. The ladies of
King Caractacus just passing by. Yes, I kind of remember that now. That's an interesting one, Jorge.
Yeah, it was. It was Rolfie.
What would I say? Well, it would take a lot less than a minute.
Told you so.
It would be that we all bleed red. So why are we kicking the shit out of each other? Nothing to do with politics or anything like that. Why can't people live together? Because even when the government leave them alone, they can't do it. There you go. That's a solemn one to end on, near enough, isn't it? But yes, Rolf, it was Rolf Harris that sung that.
We're just
But yeah,
and the ladies of the harem of the court king character.
yeah, I can remember it now. Mind you, he did. He used to come out with some weird ones, didn't he? Oh, pardon me. And then turned out a weird one himself. Just don't know it, Jorge. No, I mean, I've said this quite often, that if you're blind, you don't know the colour of somebody's skin. And that's the way everybody should look at it. Not through a blind man's eyes, but through an open eyes that just doesn't see colour. This is a person. This is a human being. And that's what's missing today. People have been told they can be whatever they want. And look at where that's got us. I mean, there's a lot of things I wanted to be. Not one of them is on the list that they want to be on today. But yeah, war is destructive, very destructive. Simon Cowell for the X Factor. Yeah. Well, I got to admit, Matrix, in my lifetime, that other than the change of genres, that has probably been the biggest change in what I would call pop music or entertainment in years. It was those type of shows. Take care, Stitch. Bear in mind there might not be a Sunday live this week, and I shan't fire one up on Sunday. We can all have an early night and do our own thing. What one are you laughing at? Correct, because it took me for dyslexic.
Mr. Caractacus.
Yeah. I thought I was going into a business years ago until I discovered I'd bought a warehouse and not a whorehouse.
I think Caractacus is not new. He has been in before.
He's been around for a while, at least under that name he's had since what was it? I can't remember.
No, I've just got a feeling he was under a different name last week.
Could have been. It could be another one of Jorge's and Alistair's mates.
No, he's my mate.
Simon Cowell, Gordon Ramsay. Oh, I can't stand any of those guys. One of them celebrity chefs absolutely ruined a beautiful old Cornish fishing town. And now there's about 3 of them down there. Why did you audition, Jorge? I mean, I've got to admit, I never watched it, but I've seen obviously shows and clips of some of the artists that have won, and not even have won, but have come out of it very well and are still performing today. So, you know, if it introduced other people into the entertainment business, as it were, then yeah, fine, it's doing its job. But yeah, it's making him an absolute bloody fortune, being as he's got the franchise worldwide. But it is interesting watching some of the fuck ups on YouTube. And the difference to it in different countries. You know, there was one, apparently it was a magic act, and some magician shot himself in the face with a gun or something. Another one got impaled with a crossbow. Several have set themselves on fire. Well, he's already signed to a record label. Yeah, I mean, the only show that I can remember, and I think it was probably the last time I watched it, was the Eurovision Song Contest. I think it was, going back to the days of Mary Hopkins, and those were the days, my friend. Exactly, yeah. I think the last one that I ever watched, and that was only because I was round my Uncle Bob's place, who was an absolute fanatic about ABBA. And but yeah, those sort of programs never interested me. I've always been a documentary man, as it were. Yeah.
Mrs. W knows all.
Yeah, Mrs. W is all knowing. She is the oracle. What's your single greatest regret in life that you would do differently if you could go back? Again, Jorge, yeah, very, very good question. And it will probably be a good one to end on. Yes, I've made a lot of mistakes in my life. I've been hurt a lot in my life. I've done a lot of things in my life that I was told I shouldn't do or couldn't do. In several occasions, they were proved right. And on a lot of occasions, I was proved right. Do I have any regrets? No. Simply because I'm a better person now than I've ever been. And I wouldn't be this person without that life and the way I led it and what happened through it. If anything I regretted and wanted to change, it would change who I am now. And I'm quite happy with who I am now. So the answer to that is no, there isn't anything I'd change. If I sat and thought about it for a few hours, I might pick up on one or two minor points. Like, I wish I hadn't put that bolt in there, or I wish I hadn't made that weld. But on the whole, my life in general, no, I wouldn't change a thing. And you continue learning, even at my age, at my stage of life, I am still learning about life. And that's how you should go through life, is never, ever stop learning.
Apart from that, he can't say anything other than that, because he wouldn't be with me if he'd done anything different.
Exactly.
And I'm listening.
This woman is the best thing that's ever happened to me. And that wouldn't have happened if I did one thing different in my life. We would never have met. There you go. Thank you, Jorge. This is why I like to do the lives. because people see the other side of me other than what I come out with in the videos. My videos, a little bit of news, but mainly my opinions on that news as well. And this is, the lives are like a catch up with the same people, but on a more personal level, as it were. We can get to know each other. Yes, unless we meet, you're never going to actually know that person. But there are those in here that we have met personally. And I'm reliably informed that in person I am exactly the same person that you see on the camera.
And there's lots of people in this group today that I'd love to meet up with.
Yeah.
Love the opportunity to meet up.
Exactly.
So if anybody's ever in the Birmingham area, let us know.
Yeah. Obviously, we wouldn't direct you to the house to start with, but we would meet you. And there are several in the Birmingham area that are subscribers, but they're like me. They don't get around a lot. But we have met some of the people in it. But with that, people, that is exactly 7 o'clock. And as you know, that is normally my cut-off time on a Friday. I will say, not just because of Phil dropping in, that was a total surprise, and what a surprise it was. Today has been an absolute blast of a stream. I haven't seen one nasty comment. Yes, a little bit of piss taken in there, but we accept that. And to all of you in the chat, I thank you for that. We do try to keep this as a reasonable stream. And it's really nice when it does go that way. Yes, Bishop, always have the crack, mate. I've always said if you don't take the piss out of life, it will take the piss out of you. It's it's just the way I am. I see humour in just about everything, even tragedy. But I don't use that side of me simply because, I don't care if anybody takes offence to anything I say, but I don't deliberately go out of my way to offend anybody unless they're a politician. And then quite happily, I'd offend them and insult them to their face. It wouldn't worry me. But everybody else, there's a time and a place, and luckily, touch wood, so far I've been able to restrict myself to that time and place. But with that, I will say goodbye to you all. Thank you for dropping in. Those on the panel, great. Phil, dude, you got to do it again, mate. You got to do it again. Learn to use that thing like I did. Paris, yeah, I know you said you weren't going to drop in today, but thank you for being there in the background, mate. I know you do listen. And my respects to each and every one of you in the chat and those on the panel. As I say, bear in mind, there might not be a live Sunday night. Obviously, that is due to be confirmed. But at the moment, it is highly unlikely that there won't be. It's highly likely that there won't be. Sorry.
And to Jorge and Alistair, we know you come in here for a mess around, and while it's all a bit of fun, that's fine.
Yep. The way you're going, guys, and at that level, yes, it is absolutely acceptable in here. It's good to have people as a laugh. It's when it gets a bit personal and persistent on certain things, that's when it gets more annoying than anything. But yeah, today you guys, yeah, thank you. You've been absolutely brilliant. And you have given me a laugh there at times. And you have brought up some valid questions that I consider valid questions, and that's why I've done my best to answer them. But on saying that, guys, as far as lives go, until next Friday, as always, thank you for my assistant in the background there, admin, moderator, keeper, jailer, whatever you'd like to call her. I love her. and she does help a lot in the background, more than a lot of people know. So until the next one, stay safe, stay strong, stay free. Respect people. Come on.